You might have been watching the American Eagle story and thinking, oh, this is some little trifling, some irrelevant bit of arcana, some pop culture story that really doesn't matter. Well, it matters bigger than ever. This is an example of rationality coming back. Remember what I've told you. The pendulum is going to swing back like a wrecking ball. Do you understand what happened? A white woman, young, thin, or of good shape, not obese, not with purple hair, not studded, not tatted, not a male, not trans, not one of these weird, strange, seemingly endless composites of non-binary gibberish. A blonde-haired, white, young woman who's in good shape, that people find in good shape and in good proportion, and you name it, whatever your particular phrase is. And the left went crazy. Not black people, white people. The radical left. The left who superimposed this lunacy, who turned who brought us Dylan Mulvaney, this freak. Let me tell you one thing about Dylan Mulvaney and others and drag queens and the like. People forget this. They're scary. They scare people. I mean, I don't know where somebody said, I mean, they will go through this painstaking body transformation and makeup, and yet when the camera's on them, they'll turn into this Carol Channing on acid kind of a weird behavior. They're freaks. They're unattractive. They're unappealing. They're strange. They're dangerous. They don't understand it. They don't get it. Well, now all of a sudden we have this. And people are going berserk. And American Eagle's response basically is F you. That's what this is. It's a collective F you. Do not dismiss this as some momentary. This is bigger than the Epstein case. This is bigger than Candace Owens. You see, the fight that we fight is at the cultural level. The streets, advertising, our world here. This is the bottom line. This is Anzio. This is D-Day. This is Normandy Beach. Not the Epstein diaries or flight logs. Nobody cares about that. Nobody cares. That has no relevance or impact on your life ever. But your daughter, your son, and God forbid, the forgotten, I used to say the forgotten and the most discriminated against person ever is the right, the left-handed word, the sinistral side, okay? Number one, most discriminated against class in this country, white, female, blonde-haired, blue-eyed, and non-obese. Let me say something. Let me do this mandatory reference. I am not fat shaming. Even that thing is so stupid. We've always used words like, you big fat idiot. The word fat meant large, meant emphasize, you big fat jerk. You're not fat. It meant a big jerk, a large jerk, a gargantuan jerk. You know it and I know it. Hell, obesity is everybody today. Isn't it sad that Ozempic is so big? Instead of somebody saying, maybe I could just, cut calories. That's all it does. But I digress. Blonde, blue-eyed, white, female, forget it. Non-obese. Just this category, and what drives me through the roof is when they start bringing up this nonsense about Mengele, eugenics, some type of strange Aryan preoccupation with people. It makes me sick. This is a victory, ladies and gentlemen, for common sense. This is a victory for common sense. We've lost our minds. And I'm going to tell you one more time. It's not black folks who do this. It's white, self-imposed guilt, manufactured woke types who drive a Range Rover and live in a gated community and have a nanny and think they're inclusive. And the first time, if you want to burst their bubble, you can say, hey, guess what? Muriel and your husband, guess who's moving across the street? That's right, black folks. Hey! What? Watch. See, they love to be integrated while segregated. They love to speak about these matters in terms of theoretical and philosophical. Now, most of us could not possibly care less. But here's what we're annoyed by. Artificial nonsense. During COVID, that's when everything changed. During COVID, remember when all of the TV commercials showed biracial everything? Not biracial. Is it interracial? Intraracial? Go figure that one. Anyway, it was always the black woman, the white man, whatever. There was no biracial kids. There was no, white people didn't exist. White men don't exist, by the way, in terms of local news, which is dissolving as we speak. But white folks, nowhere. It was always a gratuitous black man, black family, black woman. They forced this, and there was nothing wrong with it. But statistically, when you have less than 14% of the population less than 14% of the population of black communities, and of that 14%, the number of adults who are in multiracial or biracial community relationships are even fewer. So the idea that you're going to get a commercial with 10 couples, do you know the odds of this? It was stupid. They force-fed us this. And they created resentment. And none of us could give a shit less about who's marrying who. We don't care. What do they think? We are Neanderthals? What are we? Are we advocating internment camps? No. Just don't force it on us. Don't force it on us. That's all. Don't lie to us. Don't. We get into these things where all of a sudden we get into the fads. And we don't know why we're into fads. I know people right now who are swearing by methylene blue. I'm sure it's a fine product. Something to do with the mitochondria, I guess. I don't know anything about it. And neither do they. But all of a sudden, because somebody said, hey, this is selling, they got the blue tongue. Ta-da! Years ago, I called it the gluten-free phenomenon. All of a sudden, overnight, people were gluten-free. Nobody knew what rootin' tootin' gluten was. They had no idea what gluten was. They had no idea what it was. But all of a sudden, they said, well, hell, I'm done. What is gluten? I don't know. They just did it. They just did it. Overnight. People they kind of just move with it. It's like watching murmurations of starlings. It's like Gustave Le Bon. It's crowd theory, mobocracy, ochlocracies, mob mentality. We're into this. Well, guess what? This mob is finally saying, excuse me, we're back in charge again. And you can thank President Trump for this. Okay? Now let me explain something. I don't know why I'm saying this, but I'm going to say it. He makes some decisions sometimes where I think, what? Huh? But I love that guy. It all started with him. And that's what we're feeling. We are reaping the benefits of this because the Dylan Mulvaney's and that remember that ad exec? See that woman? I don't know who she is. She could eat an apple through a picket fence. She was the advertising person. I think we're trying to get away from this mob down there. You destroyed it. And you took this Dylan Mulvaney, who's a freak, not by whatever this thing is, who's just scary, and you pull this guy out of nowhere in oblivion, and you forced him into this stuff. It was this mob. It was everybody had the blue tongue. Nobody knew why they were putting it in their mouth. Nobody knew why all of a sudden they were advocating this LGBTQIA two-spirit advocacy nonsense, overcomplicating it, recompartmentalizing things that weren't meant to be compartmentalized in the first place. So let me just leave you with this. God bless American Eagle. God bless a return to common sense. God bless the fact that white, blonde, young, female, in shape, and attractive is now all of a sudden front and center. You don't have to explain. And no, it's not Mengele. It's not Nazi. It's not eugenics like Margaret Sanger, your favorite. Read her words. You want to talk about that? Go to Planned Parenthood. Talk to its founder. Listen to her words. Rejoice, my friends. Rejoice. Common sense has returned to the fold. Now let me ask you something. First, like this video. Look, you know the routine. This is the valedictory. Like the routine. Please subscribe to the channel. Hit that little bell so you're notified of live streams and new videos. And whatever you do. Oh, and ask these I've got some questions for you. But I ask you right now to comment as you see fit.